All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cocktails and Curiosities podcast. Hope you all are doing very well. Hope you guys are doing good. A little bit before we start, I apologize for both the late start and lack of podcasts for the last couple of weeks. We've been very busy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we have just been kind of running around like chickens with a head cut off. But I'm about to call Noxer shortly. This is going to be a bit of a hot start, so you know it's kind of time to just jump right the fuck in. Let me call this man. Where the fuck is he? Where? There the fuck he is. Hello. Hold on. I need to. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, everything's probably kind of working. This is technical difficulties. Today has just been a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah, you wanna quickly give him the TLDR?
TLDR, I booted my computer into another drive that was like 3 or 4 years old. That I had kept from not a laptop, a desktop computer from like that long ago that I had before that for like 4 years that I was getting data off of. And when I got all the data off, I moved it onto an external hard drive, and I went to boot the actual M.2 in here that has my actual Windows that I use now, and it loaded into a kernel panic. And I was like, well, what the hell's going on? So like I tried booting it like 6 or 7 times, and finally the BIOS realized that it was having a failure and tried to start diagnosing it. It failed to diagnose it like 3 times until finally it was like, hey, something's fucked up here. How about we reinstall Windows? And I was like, dope, can you do that with keeping my data? And I was like, yeah. It's like, but I'm gonna uninstall your apps. And I was like, oh, so like the Windows apps, not my EXEs? Cool. So I hit it. Turns out no, it uninstalled all of my apps that were like Windows, like my EXE apps. Like it uninstalled everything. So now I had to like reinstall everything really, really quickly. So we're running on like my system is like half restored. So I'm still like in the middle of this. I will be looking through like while Axel here is talking, I'm gonna be looking through all my stuff and trying to get it all back and sign into everything and all that, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's running on pretty much like a half-baked system at best right now.
Well, it has all my files. It just doesn't have any of the apps installed. Anything that's been installed has been deleted.
Yep. Anyways, we're very short on time today, so we're just gonna get right into the thick of things. Today we're gonna be going over Spiritology. This is basically an intro towards the paranormal stuff we're gonna be doing for the next couple of weeks. We've been kind of on a paranormal binge for a while, and you know, we thought, you know, fuck it, let's do something with a podcast with it.
Yeah, we basically have been fucking around with a bunch of stuff. What is going on? Yeah, I picked the term spiritology. I don't know if that's an actual field of study, but it's the spiritual, but the study of the spiritual. So spiritology. That's what we're getting into. I may be using this term incorrectly, but my response to you would be, of course, I don't give a fuck. Go somewhere else if you don't like it.
Yeah. Well, how do we want to start?
Well, first let's make some basic definitions. What spirits are there, and how do they manifest typically? So I'll let you go into, because you know about as much about this as I do. You just our fields of study are completely different. Yours is more in the like ghost hunter like technical side, and mine's more into the like the folklore, mystic, esoteric arts kind of side.
So, as you said, my area is much more scientific. That's the way I like to approach things. I am spiritual in nature, but I understand that a lot of things have a scientific component attached to them. It can either be measured, not so much explained, but at least measured in a scientific fashion. So I guess we could start with your basic human spirit. This is people who have usually passed and died on, and it usually comes in two flavors. You have intelligent spirits and you have residual. These do go together with human spirits. These are in the same block. When it comes to human intelligent spirits, usually someone who's passed on, someone who's died, but hasn't completely separated their energy from our realm. Someone who hasn't completely passed on to their side. Some would consider that sort of a quote unquote limbo.
Yeah.
But they can usually be communicated with and can get intelligent responses from them. A residual spirit or residual energy is usually happens from traumatic events or something very emotional or powerful has happened in an area. It's much like you were playing a movie that keeps replaying on loop. It could be something as simple as someone walking, a word or phrase that's being said, or even an emotion can be residual spirit energy. And usually these are not intelligent. These are just something that's been basically playing on loop and is usually stored in the area or even the materials around them, which can be explained by a theory which we will go in under another section at another time. The next set of spirits we usually have are what people would consider the negative spirits or demonic. They're not always usually demon, quote unquote, in nature. They're usually negative or have some sort of negative connotation attached to them. It could be malice, sadness, depression, anger. Those kind of heavier emotions can usually be attached to them, and they're usually very aggressive. They usually don't like people around them. They usually don't like to talk. And they can have various negative effects to the people around them. We then have another one that people would consider daemons, which I think I'll let my boy Knox chime in for that one, because I actually don't know that much about daemons.
Yeah. So daemons are a it's more of a catch-all term. It can be used for kind of holy spirits. It can be used for demons as another term for them. But daemon just means a powerful force or entity that is not of this realm, in a sense. So you can have things like you can use it to refer to the spirit of Mother Nature, the spirit of, you know, of a demon can be referred to as a daemon, but a daemon doesn't essentially it doesn't specifically mean like it's not just another word for demon. It means a powerful force or entity. And even some places can have daemons that aren't intelligent, that are just like a mechanical force that's that is uh, formed there, but isn't. Holy shit! Sorry, I'm everything's popping up. But yeah, not all daemons are are uh are negative. It's just a term for a very powerful spirit or energy presence.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we can segue into angelic. I mean, technically, angelic would fall under a daemon, I would assume. An angelic spirit.
Yeah. Well, like you can have angelic spirits that are not very powerful. You can have demonic spirits that are not very powerful, but if they're powerful enough, you can refer to them as a daemon. It's just
Okay.
a very normally it's very powerful. A lot of times it's very intelligent. Um, they're the kind of spirits that you make contracts with and make agreements with and try and uh, to they are the ones that you will communicate with normally.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see. If I'm not mistaken, there's like one more, like elementals and nature spirits.
Yeah, normally those are where you'd refer to as like daemons. Those
Okay.
are like natural spirits. Normally, are either angelic or demonic, and really the term of angelic and demonic is mostly a Christian kind of thing, and not all demons have. See, like my knowledge is not how to like I don't classify the spirits. I just know how to deal with spirits and how to work with or against them. And normally each spirit can its classifications in my mind are normally where in the mental space they come from. So like if you're dealing with a demonic entity, when I hear that, I think it is a Christian kind of demon. And those must be dealt with like exorcists and holy water and crosses and rosaries and verses from the Bible and things like that and exorcisms. But not all like negative entities are necessarily demons in the like traditional Christian sense. You might encounter a negative spirit that is, say, Egyptian or has Egyptian elements. And if you have or is Japanese, like a yokai, it might be just Middle Eastern. It might be any of those kind of areas where that mental space comes from, where that negative energy comes from. You have to fight it on its terms. So you can't use rosary beads to fight a yokai. If it's a yokai, you have to use a priestess to come exorcise that demon. And normally people don't deal with demons outside of their culture, but sometimes they will leak in. And these are just manifestations of that cultural space. So if you're dealing with um, a yokai in America, you're dealing with a entity that is formed from essentially another culture, a mixing of cultures, and you'll have to deal with that demonic entity like that. If you use, like, since I'm going with yokai, if you use, there are also some that just work in general that are like shamanic, because shamanic methods normally are universal. But if you're using specifically like powerful exorcisms, they have to be based on the demon or demonic entity you're fighting. And same with dealing with celestial beings. If you want to contact certain celestial beings, you basically have to talk to them with their telephones. You have to use their numbers to call them. Um, so with um, with a like a yokai, you might do you referred to one that I've heard before, which is the four corners blessing or something like
Yes.
that. You might use something like that to exorcise the demon and keep them from being within that space. But that same blessing won't work on a Christian demon or a demon from a Christian culture or demonic culture. And fighting them is more like the fight with spirits is what you believe. If you believe your powers will work, if you believe you have the ability to exorcise a demon, that's what makes you able to exorcise a demon. That it's not whether like the same two people can use the same techniques, but if one of them doesn't believe their technique is going to work, it won't exercise them
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
the
all about
imposing of
thought.
one's will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about it's a fight of thoughts. It is a mental battle with something. Um, So, like any technique you've seen can work if you believe it'll work. But there are certain, like using the four corners blessing on a Christian demon is like using a water gun to fight it versus a 9 millimeter Glock. Like that's the difference. It'll do something. It's just probably not going to do much. And there's a really good chance, or like using a BB gun would be a better thing. It'll hurt it, but it's probably more likely going to piss it off unless it's a very weak spirit.
Yeah. As you know, I've stated before, a lot of what I know is about documentation, tracking, and sometimes even like battle and containment. Um,
Most of my
he's
knowledge is battle and containment.
Yeah, I have a little battle and containment, but most of mine is documentation, recording, communication. When it comes to the spirit realm.
My is all in the magic arts or the esoteric arts. That's where I know my knowledge, which is battling, containing, self-protecting, exercising, movement, drawing in, making contracts, those kind of things. First tip
Yeah,
for anyone who's interested in that: do not make contracts with any spirit. Don't do that unless you know a lot about what you're doing. You are probably going to cause yourself a lot of pain and suffering. Just don't do it. It like contracting is probably like master tier work. If you have like apprentice, journeyman, and masterwork spirit craft people, contracting is like above mastercraft. Like that is a very high tier thing to do it right and do it right every time. But once you have a spirit in contract, you can you can summon those spirits to come help you and aid you in a battle or something. This all sounds very crazy, but these are mental, like a spirit that you're making a contract with is a mental amalgamation of beliefs and feelings. It's not a tangible thing. It's something in another realm, and you're not dealing with something that's matter. It's not a physical entity. It is a mental apparition or collection of thoughts and feelings that either has formed consciousness of its own accord or is can be is a those you can attune to those feelings and have it come and give it the feeling of, hey, come fight for me, and it will give you strength in that battle.
yeah, and I guess in this case we can start segueing into kind of the more intricacies that come with dealing with spirits just in general. Like I said, we were very short on time today, so we're gonna be quick firing these. So with my side of the field, it comes in with documentation and recording. Most of the time when it comes to a spirit, depending on which one you're dealing with, there are a means of communicating, documenting, and at times even thwarting spirits from affecting an individual or an area. Um,
Minerals are always effective, or always a good
yes,
like go to. Normally, salt circles, holy water. Although holy water has to be blessed by a specific type of priest. So like depending on what you're fighting, again, needs a different type of holy water. But sage is always good, because that's a shamanic method. Um, Normally shamanic methods are like the silver bullet for most of them, but they're normally very hard. Like to find a proper shaman to do that is like finding that is a like most people can do basic level stuff, but like exorcisms are very high level shamanic stuff, even for shamans. So like getting a proper shaman to come help you is about as rare as finding.
that was rare as finding like gold while panhandling.
Oh, it's rarer than that. It's hard to find a shaman who is a proper shaman, B knows how to exercise these creatures, because it's not something that all shamans know how to do, and C is willing to help you.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about like tribe-based shamans too. They're usually very
Oh,
stingy.
right. Well, they're not stingy. They just have no interest in helping you with like you're not. They're not gonna. You're not gonna fly an Amazonian shaman to a haunted theater in Chicago and have them exercise it. They just have no interest in doing that. They have their tribe to help, and that's who they're gonna help. And if you want to come in and seek aid from them, they'll probably help you. They're not stingy. They just have their own priorities, and that's not one of them.
Yeah. But so I can go in real quick the various like effects and things you can expect from specific spirits. So typically when it comes to human spirits and residual energy on both ends, they can affect an individual usually by emotions, feelings. You can get chills. You can get things being thrown. You can get various markings. Like I've seen markings on walls from spirits before as well, footsteps, and various things like that. But with like all spirits, most if not almost all spirits in some shape or form can be recorded. You can usually get EVPs, which is known as electronic voice phenomenon. It's usually when a spirit tries to talk, you can usually get some kind of voice sound or response from them from an electronic recorder of some kind. You can get audible responses like knocking, footsteps, etc. You can get shadow apparitions. Usually they're dark in shape. Usually not so much. They don't usually have a form attached to them. They're usually very formless and are usually hard to identify. Most of the time, there are outliers. And you can also get things like thermal. You can get different thermal readings. Like changes in temperature. Typically it's very cold when a spirit manifests. Like if you're in a very hot room and all of a sudden it feels like a gush of wind rushes past you in like an enclosed area with no venting, that's usually a spirit attached to that moving around.
Yeah.
Another one, if I'm not mistaken, is EMF.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the real three classifications of or sorry, four classifications of it is EMF, temperature changes, uh, physical manifestation, and voices.
Yep.
So physical manifestations being marks on the body, moving things around, things you could do with like your hand or something, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
those
probably
those are the
and then
typical
probably
ones.
visual phenomenon would be fifth.
Yeah,
Along with that.
visual phenomenon.
Those are the five major types of manifestation that I can think of, unless you have something else to add.
I want to add a 6 to that classification because technically body interactions is kind of its own thing, and I mean
Like
that outside of
feelings.
scratching. Yeah, like feelings,
Yeah.
sense of nausea,
Nausea.
fatigue,
Yeah.
pressure, cold. Cold is another one because people have gotten physically cold rather than I feel cold air. Like they've gotten physically colder.
Yeah.
There's many bodily physical manifestations that can arise when that happens.
Yep.
So there's kind of like 6 classifications if you want to go that route.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can say it's 6. And they can all be further classified by power or by like for example, feeling something touch you is a different amount of like energy requirement to do that than say leaving long scratches on you. And so and manifesting a small orb versus manifesting a full form, like a bodily form.
Yeah. Like an example would be the difference between a class C and a class A EVP. A class C usually be garbled or unintelligible, but you know that's not normal. You know, someone wasn't talking, it's quiet or whatever. Versus a class A when it's clear and sometimes even clear to the point where they're talking over you.
Yeah.
You know, there's vocal tone there. You can tell words, there's phoneticism. You can tell the enunciation of the words and so on and so forth.
Let's see. We've talked about what kind of spirits are, what can manifest, and obviously these are all up to interpretation and can wildly vary, and a thousand other fucking statements. But these are just our general, you know, kind of off the top of our head concepts that we can really quickly just introduce people into the idea of. Um, let's see, what else would there be? Well, actually, we're almost at time. We had a late start because with so many technical difficulties and issues popping up, and a bunch of other things. Um, but we will probably make that up by having a maybe a second episode tomorrow, seeing as I am on vacation for the next week from work. So I will probably be setting up another episode, or we'll probably do like a special episode or something to make up for the fact that we haven't had episodes for a while and we've been just really busy.
Yeah,
How's that sound?
this sounds good to me. I'd like to make up the episodes that we haven't done, do like a special 2-hour episode.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Make up for the 2 weeks we haven't done episodes.
And a 30-minute episode here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and throw roll call, and you can go ahead and mute me.
Alrighty then. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna be going over these next couple weeks. It's gonna be basically spiritology, you know, the study of spirits in the paranormal realm. I wanna, you know, really get headfirst into that. Again, I apologize for the lack of content for the last couple of weeks. It's been a bit busy. We haven't been able to do much, but we'll hopefully make that up to you guys. And we may have something special planned for episode 10. You know, keep a lookout for that. But I'm basically coming up on time. It's about to be 6 o'clock. We're about to do D&D for the day. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's little intro and episode into the paranormal, which what we're going to be going into for the next couple of weeks, let me know how you feel about it. I have a Twitter, I have my Twitch, which is where I typically hang out. I have my YouTubes, which is not where I'm going to be uploading stuff, and hopefully when I get some more money, and we'll probably go on Wednesday, and we're going to do some airsoft, because I actually have all my stuff to do airsoft content now. I finally have all my airsoft shit, so I can finally do that. But we're going to be doing that. But I love you guys. I appreciate your patience with us, and you know, poke me on Twitter. Tell me what you want to hear from us when it comes to the realm of the paranormal, because we'll talk about just about anything. But for now, I'm gonna go. I will see y'all the laters. Doses. Wow. Also, we stream pretty much